Will we still see a draft for the WWE this year? That is the question that is still on a lot of fans' minds as we go into the month of September. Typically, we would have seen the draft sometime right after Mania or during the summer, but with the absolute jam-packed schedule WWE has had this summer, it's no wonder that they held off way longer than they usually would. But while some superstars have made the jump and taken advantage of the opportunities presented, such as Sami Zayn, for instance, our new United States champion, I have quite the list of predictions, so let's jump into those. And while we do that, make sure you leave your predictions down in the comments. Do you think we're having a draft? And if we are, who would you like to see move to what brand? This first one is a no-brainer, and I'm sure it will come as a shock to no one, but it has to be him, Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo is absolutely jam-packed with potential, and as a matter of fact, he was the #1 pick to Smackdown last draft. In his debut match, he faced off against Cody Rhodes in the main event of Smackdown. Carmelo wasn't the only NXT call-up, but he's the only one not to touch gold. But others, such as Tiffany Stratton and Braun Breaker, have not only seen gold, but have fought against the best of the absolute best. Tiffany Stratton was not only in a match with Trish Stratus, but also Charlotte Flair within 3 to 4 months of each other. Braun Breaker, on the other hand, a former Intercontinental Champion who is currently working main event storylines with the likes of Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Jey Uso. But for some reason, Carmelo just has not hit that level of success just yet, and that is no hate to the others. Because while they all deserve it, I just want to see it for Carmelo. I'm probably one of the very few who actually was excited about Melo Don't Miz because I have always loved The Miz. I've been watching that man since Real World, so I was so excited to see what Melo could do under The Miz's mentorship. But I really think that the American Gladiator thing that Miz was filming kind of got in the way of that and set them back tremendously. Now it's seeming to be more of a tag team than a mentorship, and that's not what I signed up for. I think Carmelo Hayes could do exceptionally well on the Raw scene where he can mix it up with the likes of Finn Balor, El Grande Americano, Dragon Lee, and Dominic Mysterio especially. You'll see throughout this video that I kind of have a thing for setting up future feuds for Dom, and I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't know. But I definitely think Carmelo to the Red brand is the absolute best choice for Melo. But of course, I can't give Raw one of the best without giving SmackDown someone of an equal stature, right? So let's send former World Heavyweight Champion Gunther over to SmackDown, where I think he can continue to excel. While Gunther was just our recent World Heavyweight Champion, for some reason, the fans aren't seeming to get 100% behind him. We all know Gunther is an absolute beast in the ring. He is probably one of the best to step foot in that ring. While it looked like we were going to get a little bit of character growth at the end of last year, beginning of this year with Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship run, or the previous one, well, with Gunther's first World Heavyweight Championship run, it just didn't end up happening. The story between Gunther and Damian was good. It just kind of fizzled out and it went nowhere for Gunther. Yeah, he seemed shaken by Jey Uso at Saturday Night Main Event, but by the time Mania came back around, he wasn't worried again. He should have been, but he wasn't. I think this change over on SmackDown could help Gunther because it would put him up against some dynamic superstars and some fellow big guys. It would put him up against people who have either a very similar style of wrestling or are 100% different. There's people like Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, Aleister Black, John Cena, and even Logan Paul, who are over on SmackDown awaiting Gunther's arrival. You could even throw him in against Uncle Howdy or Eric Rowan in the Wyatt Six just to get Gunther a little bit of growth, just to get him involved with different storylines that may not always have to do with the title, but showcase his strength and his character. The end goal is making fans see that Gunther is not only amazingly skilled at wrestling, but also quite entertaining as well. This is sports entertainment, guys. These next three are all NXT call-ups that, again, will shock nobody. Oba Femi, the current NXT champion. In all honesty, I definitely thought Oba was going to drop that title to Javon Evans, preparing himself for a call-up to the main roster. Because isn't it time? Oba, I think, could work well on either brand, whether you put him on Raw, where he can mix it up with Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Roman Reigns perhaps, or over on SmackDown, where again, John Cena, Drew McIntyre, and possibly Gunther are all awaiting his arrival. Truthfully, I kind of miss the big men thing. We don't have as many monster men like we used to. Without Braun Strowman being there, we're kind of missing that monster-like quality that we're used to being on the main roster. Sure, you have Bronson Reed, but who else? Sure, you have Drew McIntyre, who is a rather large guy, but who else? More than anything, Oba is ready. He is extremely qualified, and he is ready to go toe-to-toe with some of the best talent that we have on the main roster. And, me personally, I'm hoping for that Roman Reigns versus Oba Femi match. I can see Roman losing that. I wouldn't mind seeing Roman take a pin. These next two come at a time when our women's division is in desperate need of a shakeup. With the likes of Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Liv Morgan all out, it's very clear that there's just a little something missing with the women's division right now. And I do believe that Lash Legend and Jordynne Grace will be able to help fill that. Now, do not send these two women to the same brand. You send one to Raw, one to SmackDown. And if you were asking me, I would probably send Lash Legend to SmackDown and Jordynne Grace to Raw, but I'm okay with it being switched also. One of the things you hear a lot within the women's division is people are tired of seeing the same people in the title scene. Well, these two people could help with either one, whether it's the mid-card scene or the main event scene. These two would be the absolute perfect fit to give us some fresh faces and some variety in a division that has more than been on top the last few months. And we want to keep it that way. This next pick could be an either-or situation, but I'm sending them to SmackDown. And that is either Ricky Saints or Ethan Page. Now, hear me out. I'm leaning more towards Ethan Page because the work Ethan and Chelsea have been doing down in NXT has been phenomenal. They just mesh so well. And I've really been enjoying the pieces of them together that I've been seeing. So while I included Ricky Saints because, well, it's Ricky Saints and he's quite great in the ring and entertaining. So would love to see him on the main roster. Imagine Seth Rollins and Ricky Saints face to face going off on each other. Exactly. You see the vision. But as for Ethan Page, I think him and Chelsea could really terrorize the SmackDown roster. I truly do. Both of these two could bring a different sort of excitement to the roster, but I think I would probably lean more towards Ethan Page just because, with Oba Femi gone, Ricky Saints as NXT champion just sounds quite good to me. I'm going to preface this with some of y'all may not like this. Montez Ford to Raw. Yes, I am breaking up the Street Profits. 100%. Look, hear me out. I love them. I love them so badly. It's time. The Street Profits have been used kind of like a pattern to the tag team division. And if you don't know what I'm saying, I'm basically saying you pull the Street Profits out when you need a really great match. When you need someone that you know is going to go balls to the wall the entire match, that's when you pull out the Street Profits. And that's nothing against any other team because Motor City Machine Gun, DIY, everybody on the SmackDown roster has absolutely been killing it. However, especially with the tension that we're seeing between the Profits and SummerSlam, I think it's time. I don't necessarily need one of them to turn on each other. I don't need Dawkins to beat Montez's ass, which could actually be quite interesting. However, I think it's time for them to just go their separate ways. Maybe draft night, we find out that Montez specifically requested that he be split up from Dawkins, or Dawkins requested that Montez be traded. Either way, the breakup is really just, hey, I think it's time for you to go do your own thing, I would love for Dawkins to stay on SmackDown because just like those other big men I mentioned, Dawkins could fit right in. This could give Dawkins the opportunity to prove everyone wrong who has been saying that without Montez, he would flounder. Without Montez, he would disappear. Put Dawkins in the mix with people like Gunther, Oba Femi, Drew McIntyre, maybe even John Cena. And look, I understand I'm using Cena a lot and he only has 8 days left, but let me have it, y'all, please. But I'm just saying, if we put Dawkins into that big man field, if we put Dawkins into that type of world and we can show that he's just as good on his own as he was in the Street Profits, Dawkins would be A-okay, and I can even see him going after that United States Championship. Montez, on the other hand, I need Montez Ford versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. If it's not Dominic Mysterio, Montez Ford versus Carmelo Hayes for the Intercontinental Championship. I definitely think Montez has the charisma, the theatrics, the entertainment that would do very well on the A show that Raw really is now. I think splitting these two up will give them both that chance to reach their full potential, and it'll finally shut up the naysayers on if they can actually stand on their own 2 feet, because if not, just put them back together and we go on about our business. Now, of course, if I am moving Montez Ford over to Raw, that means upon her return, Bianca Belair must also go to Raw, because, you know, we like to keep couples together here. And I don't have any reason for that other than I need to see that Women's World Championship on Bianca Belair's waist. Y'all know, Big 3 Stan account, especially when it comes to my EST, my GOAT, my girl. I was waiting for Naomi versus Bianca, and I will still be waiting for Naomi versus Bianca whenever Naomi drops Baby Uso and decides to grace us with her presence again. Because I'm just saying, Naomi taking that title off of Bianca when she comes back would really be a full circle moment. I would also love to see a tag team shakeup in general. I don't care which tag teams we move around, but I definitely think we need to move some teams around. Whether it's sending SmackDown teams to Raw, Raw to SmackDown, or even NXT. I don't really care. I'm kind of just overseeing the same tag teams, and let's be real, SmackDown has the better tag team division. SmackDown's tag team division has been absolutely blowing Raw's away. So maybe it's time to shake things up. We've already seen DIY appear back in NXT this past week, so let's see where that goes. Now, as an honorable mention, because I'm not trying to take everybody away from NXT, Kalani Jordan or Sol Ruka would not make me upset at all either. Sol is a bit more problematic because she has not only one, but 2 titles that she's currently defending in NXT, as well as Zarya to think about. Whereas I just really enjoy Kalani. I think she's fantastic in the ring, and I would love to see her mixing it up within the mid-card while she grows her way to the main division. I'm sure there's a lot more that I missed, so make sure you let me know down in the comments. Who do you think needs to be drafted and to what brand? What NXT call-ups are you looking forward to potentially in this draft? And I guess most importantly, do you think we are still getting a WWE Draft at some point in 2025? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it, subscribe to my channel, and turn on post notifications so that you're notified every time I post. And believe me, you want to be notified of these next few videos. So, until the last bell rings, bye guys.